water from the dam backed up and filled the quarry hole as well. But
Listen now.
That's not me going for swim.
no, I wouldn't go swimming in there, but you can see the bubbles keep coming up for quite a while, and it's actually a sheer drop. It's about 150 feet deep.
Oh my God!
And a road spiralled down into it, and there was all the machinery for cutting the limestone, and the offices and buildings were all still down there when they flooded it. So I wouldn't fancy going down diving or anything.
And what's the circumference of it?
It's the size of a football pitch.
Oh my God.
I suppose the machinery was probably obsolete and old and no one wanted it. And I suppose they probably got compensation, but it was a huge source of limestone, and nearly all the buildings in Macroom, like the courthouse, the town hall, and maybe even some of the bigger buildings in Cork, this is where it was a good quality limestone came from here.
Seamus Murphy would have got some of his stone out of there, so the sculptor, I suppose.
Possibly.
Would it be clean? Not very clean, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't very clean.
Yeah. Is it clean now, like?
Oh, it's full of fish.
Oh, is it?
You know, and the limestone actually is what makes hard water. So to drink water through limestone is good for bones and stuff like that. Calcium. And I know it actually flooded, but the whole place has become a real nature reserve. And in fairness to the ESB, I suppose they've done up the pat in, and with the help of Tommy here, he keeps the grass cut and looks after the seeds. And there's even a few fishermen over here today. They're way over there.
What kind of fish would it be after that?
Quite now the size of your leg. They're a top predator, and some people don't like them, but the thing about it, if there's pike there, it means there's ordinary fish there, and it's a healthy food chain. And we don't like pike because they're a bit bony, and we tend to see them as eating anything. They're eating ducks and might eat a mouse or whatever, or a rat, but the continentals love them. So it's in the last couple of years, an incredible amount of Polish people have come into the country, and enough of them are great fishermen. And more than likely the guys away over there.
Yeah, I've talked to them, man. They're not Irish.
They're Polish, yeah. And they stay fishing all day.
And you know, I want not interrupting you, and you know, they fish there at night and they have illuminous floats. You know, if we're over in the fairground, we get a little bracelet or a little thing for children, and they stay long maybe for a week or a thing like that, and they have floats like that. And I see they'd be fishing there, they tie some kind of a lamp onto that there, and there could be 2 or 3 of them, and they stay there until I said to him there, it was only recently, I said, how long will you be there? Until about 1 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yeah, they fish at night. I don't know how they do that, and below the bridges as well.
All right.
Is there any danger of them fishing it out?
Oh, you already know.
Well, I suppose before the whole place was flooded, sure, the Gare was famous for the duck and the salmon, and making poaching. This was a great place to hide.
I need to use that.
Well, I suppose my
father and my uncles made poutine here, and they were Murphys, and the Timmy Gueras as well. They made poutine. They'd be relations of old Bishop Murphy, the old Bishop of Cork. They were the while. They made poutine, and I was saying it to Nooreen, and we come up there. One time there, my father and my uncle were caught, and there was a detective in town, and he was very, very severe. We say, for want of a better word, Michael Loughlin. And he was dead down, my father and my uncle, but they were caught anyhow, and they got some few, a dozen bottles or maybe 20 bottles of poutine, and they took that in, and they'd be supposed to destroy it, but they drank it themselves. You know, they didn't drink it in one day, but they were supping away at it. But my uncle was fined £20, the old money, you know, like that. And £20 at that time was a lot of money. They were only selling the poutine for, you know, the half crown. Now you wouldn't remember the half crown, 2 and 6.
Some of us do now.
Yeah. For 1 minute. My uncle didn't want to pay the fine, and he would not pay the fine. And there was 2 weeks in Cork prison, and he said he'd go to jail, and he went in and but a lot of the fellas that were buying it, some of them were kind of big farmers or things, they clubbed together and didn't come up with the fine. But he gave 2 nights in Cork prison, and he was left out they paid the fine. I know that in Macroom what way they did it, but he was released after 2 nights, spending 2 nights there. But he said he would not pay it with a matter of principle.
Like the water charges.
Yeah.
They were glad to drink it when they got it. They were glad to drink it when they got it.
They were.
But there was another very good story you were telling me about the policeman or the RIC officer that was trying to catch one of the poaching makers, and he approached me and says, look, I want to, and it's in bad shape, if you get me a bottle of poaching, I'd like a bottle myself. But the poaching maker didn't trust him, and what he did was he got a bottle of water and he stuck the cork into a bit of poaching first, he soaked the cork in poaching and put the cork on the bottle of water, and when he met the cop said, oh, thanks very much, and he gave him the bottle of poaching, but he smelt the cork. And he thought he had a bottle of poaching, and he went to grab him and he says, I have, you know.
Oh.
But, so the scent fooled him, and when he realised it was a bottle of water, he had to leave him go. But he was a relation of yours as well, was he?
I think so, yeah.
Probably around as well.
Kevin, will you tell me a bit about the Shani Rooney there, the Robin Hood figure that was here?
Yeah, so as I said, it was a brilliant place for wildlife because it was such a vast maze, like there was several thousand acres of ancient woodland inside in this delta. And of course, during any times of trouble, it was a great place to run into because the local people could find their way around inside it, where a stranger couldn't. The stranger got something called a Meshgan Nooreen, which is again, it was all Irish in this book. Meshgan Nooreen is confused brain. You could keep going around in circles, and that's what happens to you when you go into the Gera when the forest was there. So, but if you were from here, you knew it very well, and there was a famous character around 1770. And he was known as Sean Rua on Greera. He was a red-haired Sean. He had bright red hair, and he obviously, around the time of the wild geese, I suppose, he left for Europe as well, and came back with a fine gun. And he was basically robbed from the old landlords, and he'd give the stuff away to the poor. So he was a wanted man, and he was hiding inside in the Gera, and they could never catch him. And they used to actually go in and try and track him down, but they'd get lost, and they couldn't get back out. And of course how he had a very, very faithful dog as well, and when he was running short of supplies, he'd actually put a little satchel around the dog's neck and he'd send it off out. The dog actually would know who to go to, and he'd go to neighbours, or he'd even trot all the way into Macroom, and he'd go into a shop, and the baker or the butcher would recognise the dog, put the stuff into the satchel, and the dog would come all the ways back.
Oh my
So he was a bit of a Robin Hood character, and the stories about him are endless. And just escaping from the militia at the day, and around the time of the Rapparees and the White Boys.
Yes,
So a great old character, and the island on which he actually was hid was a gigantic oak tree, and it was half hollow, and he was to hide inside it, and was actually way down from where we were standing this morning, or earlier on there on the corner, one of the islands. And one day the RIC, they got their own hunting dogs, and they said they'd follow his dog this time, and the hounds would maybe track him down to the island. And sure enough, one of the hounds actually managed to track him to the island, where Sean was roasting a piece of meat on his dagger over a little fire. And when he saw the dog, he knew if he started barking, he'd give his position away. So he offered the bit of meat to the dog on the end of his dagger. And of course, as the dog came over to take a bite out of it, he plunged the dagger into the throat and killed the dog instantly, so he couldn't bark. And of course, then he was there to get away again, they could never find him. So he was a great old character anyway, Sean Rua. So, but he was a Murphy. Yeah, so they were very, very old. So a lot of the old families here could trace their genealogy back to the Middle Ages.
There's several stories about it. We could say here all day about the marksman and the shooting of the kind of
Oh,
different.
if you're about 2 hours, that's for the hotel. Okay, we go back out